Hello friends, Brandy here with Falcon Healing Arts. I hope you're doing really well. Welcome to our December energy update. Can you believe that we are at the end of 2022? This year has gone by so fast, but overall I have really enjoyed it. I feel like a lot of people have experienced a lot of personal growth and are really on an upswing in their life. Let me know if that's how it felt for you. Definitely, there were a lot of changes we had to work with. There are still breaking down of systems, which we'll be talking about soon. But just want to share that at the beginning of each year, I always assign a theme to the year that I'm trying to step into. And for the beginning of 2022, it was magical. That I was wanting to bring more magic into my life. I wanted to really step into my gifts of this intuitive knowing, sharing that, also my energy healing, and just approaching life in a magical way, appreciating the miracles that happen every day. So really normalizing magic and spirit that it's connected to. And that is what 2022 felt like for me. So just consider that if you're doing any end of year reflection and are planning for 2023, consider what theme you might want to create for the whole next year. And then you can create a plan on how to act in order to achieve that. So it's all about intention. And with that, I just want to mention that my intention for these sessions is to help you see what's happening inside you and outside you, and to reflect on the connection between the two. Because it does really seem like it's causative a lot of the times. We are definitely affected by things that are happening outside of us. And if we see that, then how we are working through what's happening in our inner life can definitely affect our outer world. And that's the perspective that really helps you to see that we can co-create our life with spirit. It's a very healthy mindset to embrace. And I feel like that's what I'm providing you with here is a different perspective on how to see things, how to relate to yourself and others, and that will move you along your life very nicely as you bring in more intention, more mindfulness to this process of living. So there's a lot to talk about for this month. You know that I always like to feel into what's happening on a collective level first. And we'll be talking more about details about what may be happening with you personally. I've been changing it up a bit each month for 2023. I might change it a lot. We'll see. I like giving myself that freedom to do so. So you will see that it will be a little different today. But I always like to tap into just clairsentience first. What emotion is most on the surface when I'm reflecting about what is happening in the world and also in the smaller community? So in the United States, most of us are watching from here. What does it feel like? And obviously, there is a lot of conflict still happening in the world. Russia, Ukraine. We are seeing a huge revolution happening in China that is not being talked about so much in mainstream media, but is definitely happening. There's a lot of breaking down of systems, so political systems, a lot of rebellion on the part of citizens with just not jiving anymore with authoritarian views. So that is really what I'm feeling right now is there's this restlessness and this rebellion that is coming from that. And when I was watching something on YouTube today, and I heard very clearly people are being pushed to their limit. So we're being pushed to our limit. The people in China have been pushed to their limit. It has gone too far. And I think that happened early on here in the United States with the whole COVID thing. But it's happening with other systems too, in schools, with parents. Like, things are happening where we're being pushed too far. And in some cases, it's getting to rebellion and active pushing back, that needs to happen because the oppression, the pushing has been so hard that it needs to be a big shove back. But with other things, we're just not listening anymore. So just to the point of being resigned that some things really suck and need to change, and we can do that from a calmer place. And so that's what I'm feeling right now, that it's really intense in other areas where it's a lot more strong. And here in the United States, it's more like a being fed up and just wanting to rewrite it, to rewrite what's happening, the leadership. We're wanting a big change. And yeah, there's still a lot of uncertainty here. Some elections here, a lot of people don't realize that here in California, not all the votes have been counted yet. And here we're at the end of November. So things like this, we're a little fed up with. Things need to change. Okay, so I will be reflecting on my notes here too. So yeah, we will be seeing, it looks like we are going to be seeing a bit more of this rebellion, a bit more of this pushing back toward the end of the month. And it may be with different things in different areas, of course. And then there might be some of that happening within your life. Maybe certain relationships, maybe with work. So certain things that are affecting you, you're like, stop. I've had enough. And it could be a big pushback, or it could just be, and I'm not listening anymore. And this is reminding me, as I was writing all this down, I'm like, this is what it feels like to have a parent who pushes you too much. If you have an authoritarian parent, you probably will not have a close relationship with them as you become an adult. You're not going to want to continue that relationship. Why would you, as an adult, want to have that pressure, that very negative energy on you? And I love my mom dearly. I love her so much, but she was very much one who pushed us a bit too far. And we have both healed. We still have a functional relationship. It's actually better than it was before, but we both had to change. I know other people who have had to move really far away from their parents and don't have a strong relationship with them. So you never know how that's going to turn out. But chances are, if you're pushing someone too much, they're going to get tired of it. And usually that pushing happens when someone is desperate, or they don't have any other skills in order to control the situation. So there needs to be a letting go of control too. And people who do not want to let go of control get desperate. But that doesn't mean that they are going to win. So just consider that, where you might be seeing that, where it might be showing up in your life as well. Because what we're seeing in the outer world, again, is what we might be seeing in our inner world. So I did a shamanic journey just to see if I could get more guidance from this. And after meeting my guide, he asked me to climb up this huge tower. And it wasn't a tower like a building. It kind of seemed like a Dr. Seuss type of tower, where it was kind of like a pyramid that was getting really narrow and curving and just looked really perilous. Like I thought, if I keep walking, I'm going to fall. This is going to collapse. I'm going to fall. And he was like, keep going. I'm right behind you. I would never ask you to do this if I thought you were going to fall. I'm not going to hurt you. So he kept saying all these encouraging words. And I was like, okay, I'm going to keep climbing. And then we got to the top. And it is significant that we were very high up. We were in the clouds. We had this huge perspective of everything that was happening below us. But I wasn't paying attention to that. I was just paying attention to being with him and and feeling secure with that. Even though I was scared going up, once we got there, it was kind of like we were having a picnic. We were having this nice conversation. I was trying to get more guidance from him that was not coming. So we ended up just sitting there. It was quiet. We were just waiting, and we were sitting with this sense of peace. And then when that felt complete, I was like, but now I need to go all the way down. And I do have a fear of heights, a major fear of heights. And this was terrifying just in this journey. Like, okay, I need to climb all the way down. And he was like, no, you don't. And he just hugged me, and it was like we teleported back down to the ground. And I was like, oh, that was easy. So I didn't need to repeat that journey. And he was like, no. It was the journey going up. That was the transformational work. And then once you were there, we were able to just shift. So there's a lot I still want to process around that, but I just felt that it was beautiful, because this is what a lot of our life journeys are about. The little lessons that we learn, how there needs to be this confrontation of fear, definitely, as we are moving up on our path. And there also needs to be this leaning back into trusting that there is something higher that wants us to succeed, that is protecting us, that is guiding us. And a lot of people who do not have that connection, they either stay stuck in fear or they never make that journey. So I thought this was really awesome. Again, there might be more to unpack. I know there is for me, but just consider that. So I did also pull some cards. I did this ahead of time. So this is one thing I played with last month. I did them in the video here, and I didn't like the way that flowed so well, because I do need to process. I'm very much air element, which we are going to get into here, which thinks a lot. So I need to process, to put a theme together, and it's just articulated so much better for you. So even though I would love to be in the moment, I really feel it's in both of our best interest for me to do this first. So this first card is the Ace of Cups. And I pulled this before. I'm not sure if this was last month or the month before, but it was recent. And if you will remember, this is the card of pure love. So when I pulled these cards, I also did this differently. That I'm considering the first card to be the beginning of December, the second card to be mid-month, and then the third card to be the end of the month, so the end of December. So this is the energy that we're feeling into now, here in the beginning of the month. So the card of pure love, this often symbolizes self-love. So this is where we ended one of the months, again, I don't remember if it was last month or the month before, was this sense of being at home in ourselves and being really secure and just really happy with the way things are turning out. So this is where we're starting now. And the one, so the ace is symbolic of one, and the one is new beginnings. So we do have the new moon around the solstice, which is also around new beginnings. Now that is toward the end of the month, but still we are moving in that direction because that is a major change, the solstice, the end of this solar year, and where the light comes back. So this Ace of Cups, it feels like this is the energy, this new moon energy, this new beginnings energy. But it is about opening our heart to all that is happening. So even the crazy, disturbing, things that are still going to be coming up in this month. I've been seeing a lot of crazy things on social media that I don't regret seeing. I want to know what is happening. But it's controlling our response to that that is important. So many things are coming up that need to be illuminated so we can shift them. Okay? If they stay hidden, they're always going to be there. In order for them to change, they need to come up as disturbing, unpleasant as they are. We need to see it in order to say, I don't like this. We're changing it. Okay, so then it moves out. So just watch if you have this repulsion to something you're seeing or experiencing, if you have this desire to hide it again, to pretend like it's not there. Can instead you just open your heart to feeling? So you don't need to like what you see, but just be with the feeling of, this is disturbing. Like, what does that feel like in my body? How is this making me think about things differently? Like, really go into it. And then your reaction to it will be more of a mindful response where you can let it go. You can know that things are going to be better. So looking at change from a more loving place. Again, both inside and outside of yourself. So unconditional love is what this card is all about, and a willingness to be with everything. And so also with the end of the year reflection, if you are starting to do that right now, again, I highly recommend that you do that. There might be a tendency to be regretful about something that came up. A big lesson you learned that we may call a mistake. See if you can reframe it as a lesson instead. So really go into what it was. Feel those feelings of making this mistake, and then see how you've grown from that. And just reframing that is going to help you, again, to look at this more with love, with understanding, instead of trying to forget about it. So yeah, bring that into your end of year reflection to try to not get into feeling regret, because it's when you're feeling regret and guilt and shame that you may try to cover it up again. Feel into it again. Don't deny that it's showing up, but as you go deeper, it will change. Absolutely. Trust me. I've gone through that many, many times. So you're honoring your path and all the lessons you've learned. I believe this card is, that is what it's trying to teach you and us. Okay, next, we are moving into this energy of the Six of Pentacles. So this card shows, let's stay with this a little longer. This card shows the four directions down here with this white buffalo, this animal spirit. And this card is about abundance. You see that there's grain below the animal, like a field of mature grain that needs to be harvested. So this card is about abundance. It's about reaping what you sow. And so this is like the end of summer energy too. But of course we have these cycles in our life, not just over the year, but in a day, sometimes over just a few hours, these many cycles. But in this period of the month, we are going to see more abundance. You're going to be experiencing that more. So it may be a project you've been putting a lot of energy into that is finally ready. Maybe something you've been putting a lot of effort into, you're now going to be making money off of. It could just be feeling that you're rewarded in another way. So it doesn't have to be financial or monetary. It can be another way that you feel rewarded for something that you've done. So remember that as we move through December, that you're looking for that energy. You're open to that energy. But the important part about this energy in this card is what we do with this abundance. What do we do with this prosperity? So this is very much linked to the video I just did last week on scarcity mindset, how to shift from scarcity to abundance. Because even when we do have periods of abundance in our life, if we hold scarcity mindset, there may be this tendency to hoard that energy, to keep it just for ourselves, or maybe that's even uncomfortable and then we get rid of it. So we're not able to really feel into being rewarded and paying that forward. So when we are feeling abundant, when we reap these rewards, we want to turn it back around. So you can be saving, but for a cause, not just because you're afraid that you're going to lose it at some point. You can save to put it toward a cause for later. If it's an energy that is inside you, something that you've gained in your life that you want to share, we do that. We don't hoard it for ourselves, but we share it with others. That actually makes the reward doubly better, even more than that. It could be exponentially better when we share these gifts, these rewards with others. So this could also be about gifting to charity. If you are feeling really abundance around this time of year, it is a very popular time to give to charities. And here I'm doing this video on, what do we call it this Tuesday? I forget what it's called. The Tuesday after Cyber Monday, when we give, this Giving Tuesday. So as we are receiving, this card is very much about a giving and receiving energy. We want to be feeling it equally. And if we're getting toward the middle of the month and you're like, where is that energy that Brandy was talking about? This may be cluing you into where you may be blocked. So if you are feeling more scarcity than abundance, that can be something to focus on in order to feel more abundant in your life. And again, it's not always monetary. It can be your attitude. It could be your attitude toward things that you're always thinking you're less than, that you don't deserve, you're not worthy. That is all scarcity. It can show up in your relationships, in your work, with your health, in addition to finances. Okay, so that is the second card, the middle of December. We are ending the month here with the Knight of Swords. So see this card, this knight on his white horse, and he has this sword. He's charging forward. You see the lightning bolts behind him. A lot of energy in this card. So in this deck, which is the Star Tarot by Kathy McClelland, the knights symbolize the four main archangels. And this is Archangel Raphael, which is the angel of healing. They're all close to God, but he is... I'm going to read more on this card because there is a lot more to it, this relationship with God. And I don't think I wrote that part down. I'm looking for it and I don't see it here. But he shares messages from God and is very linked to our mindset. So related to the last card about mindset, Archangel Raphael, at least in this deck, the Knight of Swords, is also related to the air element. So the air element, I also have a video on that. The air element is related to our thoughts, our mental processing, how we see the world. And He's also considered the healer of humanity. And again, in this deck, he is the warrior of intellect. So related to the air element this way, symbolized by air. Oh, here it is. The messenger of divine light. So that's what he's sharing from God, is reminding you about this divinity inside you and outside of you. Okay? And his sword is slashing through any confusion, any limiting thoughts, like the scarcity mindset. It could be other ways that you might be blocking things coming through in your life. It's just because you have a mindset block, which is an obstacle that we create. So this card, this energy, slashes through that. So we have more clarity. We can see from a greater perspective. So it helps us through these stuck patterns and of opening to higher realms of thinking. So higher realms of being too. So remember now the journey I told you about I did before I pulled these cards, where my guide brought me up onto that tower into the sky and had me just sit there. Not a whole lot of conversation. It was a lot of just being, a lot of looking, observing, so more like a quiet witness to what is happening. And this is the energy we're stepping into at the end of the month that I think might also be linked in with rebellious energy. I'll talk about too in a moment. But it's this observing, really being able to see things clearly and changing your mind about how you are seeing it. So breaking through delusion too. Okay, so mindset shift is what a lot of us will experience here at the end of the month. About what? That's what may be different between all of us, because of course we're all different. But there may be things in the world where it's like, whoa, okay, most of us are seeing things the same now, where we didn't before. But there may be things happening inside of you too that you are now able to see more clearly. Okay, so this energy, you see him charging forward. This is also a willful and direct energy. So it is strong. Think of how strong the wind is, how it can move really fast and powerfully. And so it can be very aggressive. And it's related to fighting for our ideals, fighting or even fighting against ideals and ideology. A lot of what we're experiencing here in the United States, we are going to see a big pushback from that. So standing strong in our values and pushing against that. This also has to do with justice. So wanting to see justice, fighting against injustice. So again, very strong energy around this. So we need to be clear on what our intentions are. Are we fighting just to fight because we like that energy? Or are we actually fighting to make a change? And is there actually something that can come from your actions? So we don't want to get stuck in the energy of always being defensive, always in this fight, because that is limiting. That is actually an obstacle to self-growth. I know that was one I have held for a really long time. As a mom, fighting against certain things that were pushed on us here in California, and that became part of my identity. And it really kind of poisoned the way that I saw the world for many years. And luckily, I broke through that with the help of many people. But even just last year, working with business coaches, they identified this in me, that I had this defensive energy still. And I'm like, wow, that is still there. I was aware of it, and yet it was still there. So oftentimes for people, there may be layers we still need to peel off. It can take a really long time. But once you are aware, it is the beginning of that end. So we need to just be really thankful for that. Okay. And it's also the energy, so not only of being defensive all the time, but needing to protect others all the time. I suggest you look into that more if that is what you're feeling too. Because fighting against injustice, we do it from a pure heart, but sometimes doing that for others can be very disempowering for them. We want to encourage others who are being victimized. We want to empower them so they are not in that victim mindset. They need to lift out of that in order to make their own personal changes. It's not going to be a big lesson for them that is truly transformational if they're not doing it themselves. So even though we may feel like we want to save everyone, first of all, again, it may be disempowering for you to do that. See if you can give people the tools instead to do it themselves. But also, you may be completely misunderstanding. Maybe they're not a victim. Maybe this is something they are actively choosing and you're projecting on them because you don't agree. So just know that too. Sometimes things happen to people because they've made that choice. So let's not take responsibility for everything. Again, that is wonderful that you are feeling for other people, but that doesn't mean that you need to act for other people or to feel their feelings and project yours on them as well. Okay. So there's a lot with this card. It's also helping us to shift out of old energy. And this is what we are seeing in the collective with these breaking down of systems that we are seeing in politics. We are seeing this with leadership in certain countries. We are seeing this with the health system, with the education system too, in schools. We are seeing this in many different areas, also financial. The financial system too is obviously changing. So this card is helping to break that down, but in a functional way. It's helping us evolve. So it's not a destruction in a way like anarchy is, but it is effectual change that is being made in a very intentional way. Okay, so think about this card, what it might be teaching you personally, and also what you are seeing in your outer world as well. Let us end, friends, with pulling a goddess card. Okay, I feel like I need more space. So we are going to pull a card that's going to help us put all of this together. So we're asking for one goddess to come forward to give us more guidance. Hold on, let me get going here. I'm cold. My hands are cold. Okay, here we go. Okay, a goddess coming forward to give us more guidance, what we can focus on, to make December harmonious, and to bring about the desired changes we want to see in our lives. Okay, that's it. Ooh, love it. I love all of the goddesses, of course. But here, look at this, Pachamama. Do you see her as a mountain here, high up in the sky, again, up in the sky, in the air, among the clouds. And the message is healing, holing, and holy. So healing, and then holing, becoming a whole being, and then holy, feeling that you are divine. This is, well, it's reminding me of all the cards, especially the first and the third here. So the pure love, which is healing. Yeah, all of these cards are healing. And the Knight of Swords, Raphael, is the Archangel of healing. And the message he carries from God is healing. So let's read the poem that comes with Pachamama. All of the poems in here are wonderful. Okay, here she is. I sing a song of love from the stones of my body, from the high peaks of my mountains, from the hot sands of my deserts. I caress you with green leaves, green plants, green grasses. I bathe you in greenery. Okay, by the way, Archangel Raphael is associated with the color green. And the heart chakra is also green. Okay, just needed to mention that. I bathe you in greenery and feed you from my breast, the earth. I soothe you with sparkling waters, refresh you in my oceans. My song of love for you is my body, the earth, there to feed you, clothe you, home you. Learn my song, and it will heal you. Sing my song, and it will whole you. Dance with me, and you'll be holy. So you may want to rewind that again and listen, because this is where I want to end. I feel like everything is encapsulated in this poem about what you can do to create this healing for yourself, for the world. So aligning with nature, seeing that you're part of nature, seeing that you are divine. And you're getting this from the earth. You're also getting it from all the elements. So this does feel associated with air too. The learning my song. Song is, it's singing on the air. Again, we talked about that in the air element video. To reflect on this poem, friends. You can journal about it. Let me know if any of this resonates with you. You may even want to watch this toward the end of the month too and reflect on how it went, and share that with me as well. I'm always super interested to hear. Please do your end of year reflection. I would love to hear about that as well. I work through Ange Peters. I've been following her for a while. She's in doTERRA. I do doTERRA essential oils. So she is high up in the organization, and she is a motivational speaker too. Just very put together, super organized. And I learned so much from her, how to create intentional shifts in my life, even with business. So I've been working through her program, the Beautiful Life Lab, that you may want to check out if you want more structure with your end of year planning. All right, I will end it here, friends. I hope you have a great rest of the day, great rest of the week, a fabulous December, and a wonderful ending to 2022. I will see you again soon. Take care.